Hello guys and welcome to TFT World Cup Grand Finals, game number 3. Enjoy!
They are here having a ton of fun playing the game they absolutely love, and these are experienced players. They're not feeling the pressure of this being a game 3 in a grand finals with so much at stake. One key thing to mention for Scuttle Puddle, there is a possibility to, of course, only field a singular unit and win that round if you want to maximize your economy. Usually not the best play in this kind of competition because you want to have your options open and have the possibility of upgrading your units to 2 stars.
And we got to see what this increased economy actually will do for all these players. So, we got to see some 3-star 3 costs, and usually you need a lot of econ to make that happen. But I do feel like the teams were not denying as much as maybe we would expect them to stop those 3 stars from coming through.
I'm just looking for the craziest game plan possible. We already have additional resources. Why not throw in another prismatic start to this game and really spice things up?
YGQF makes 10 there, does not opt to hold those ashes, the Jaxes, not looking for that maybe multi-striker opener or multi-striker line as a whole. It could be that some players have, again, more of a role within these rerolls. They say, hey, I'm the Kog'Maw expert, I'm the Syndra expert, I'm a little bit more prone to holding specific units to make sure that sometimes I go into that line regardless.
I do think with the additional gold, it does mean that comps that don't have a win-now condition like the Kog'Maw and the multi-strikers are probably going to be less appealing to these players.
You make 10 here, you have the Rumble pair, could be a massive upgrade if you find it.
Watch here for Bintum into the 2-1. You can find a Syndra to go alongside these Rumbles. Start off the game very strong. And it's Silvers, not Prismatics, like we were potentially hoping for, calming things down a little bit alongside the Scuttle Puddle. So a lot of resources, maybe a little less power from the Augments.
Really precise planning coming through here as well from all of our players as they communicate between each other. They, try and share what lines are being opened by the Augments are being offered, who wants to lose streak, who wants to win streak, who has the board, the units, and the items to do so.
Really looking forward for something like the Pandora's Bench. I think in this sort of situation, when you get 3-cost rerolls, typically the strongest in TFT history because one unit is 27 gold, and you get that additional chance to reroll, would be a great spot for it. 3-cost reroll, I'm a huge fan of Vigar, but just hasn't been working out because of the cost to it.
Bintum going to grab Stimpack, so we're going to see Lost Streak from Bintum in a full open fort.
And I'm not surprised, you see the Warwicks, the Ziggs in your shop, you're not seeing the upgrades, like, yeah, I'm just going to sell everything, reset, restart mission without the augment, basically, when it comes to this 2-1 round. And sticking here with the Serene, we're going to see what the options will be for him with the silver ticket, rather. Could be looking to re-roll quite a bit, and
2 games
in already with the Syndra.
Yeah, 2 games of Serene on the lose streak duty. This time around, I think he has a clear win streak position here. Bobe also with a great start with the over-encumbered, one of the strongest silver augments earlier on. Gets you a huge stage 3, and also the Syndra to start off.
Yeah, Syndra with the Shojin starting out from 2-1. Exactly what you want to be looking for to play the Syndra line. So Bobe, gonna have to have our eyes on him, whether he can play for a full win out or even just the Syndra tempo.
To pick up that early win, maybe not ideal usually for the Syndra line because you want to have the priority on the Carousel to make sure you can work towards that BIS. With over-encumbered, a little bit less important because you have those extra dice rolls, let's say, in terms of finding the right components to scale that Syndra into that stage 3 and 4 with the Rage Blade, the Shojin, and the Nasher.
Oh, Shelty leveling up, so he's not going to be playing the Scholar Bastion line as we have seen. I'm very fond of that line, but very specific conditions. However, it has a great tempo game plan. And I do want to mention yesterday in the Twisted Minds matchup, we did see the use of a Bastion frontline with a Syndra in the back.
Just finding new and creative ways to play Teamfight Syndra.
Shelty, we'll see if he can resist the temptation. Double Vagar in the shop. He's looking, he's seeing the Shojin. And he's thinking, am I going to play a Vagar reroll game in Game 3 of a Grand Finals? The answer on this patch might be no.
Oh. A Vex as well, right? The setup's all there, and then he sells the Vex, so we're not going to see.
He was talking to his teammates, and I think they talked him out of the situation right there.
Quick little therapy session. Nope, no Vagar for you.
Nope. Calmer heads prevail in this situation. Now we have 2 win streaks from the same team going up against each other. Looks like just a common Syndra game. from possibly from both of these.
And we've got a team building, or an army building, the YGQF, trying to get that. It's a much stronger silver in this setup than it has been kind of historically, being able to just get 2 more of your 2 costs that you're re-rolling. And while that wouldn't be the most insane amount of value on a lot of patches, a lot of times you wanted to play it with the 3 cost reroll because it buys you a lot more of that gold. Since they're so contested, getting those duplications is amazing.
And we're finally into, oh look, it could have been a Veigar too, punished for not believing. And of course, we know the Veigar BIS is the Shojin, the blue buff, and then the damage item. So it could have been a good option. T1 comms coming through, really trying to share, hey, let's grief this player. I need this, you need that. Let's try and make this work with our pick order. But all in all, I think the priority will always go towards Syndra BIS in this Stage 2 carousel.
Really interesting. SCSC once again on the Kog'Maw duty. I thought in a portal like this one, Scuttle Puddle, it wouldn't be as common, but he's still going to go for it. And they have the Golden Remover to shift items between the Tristana and the Kog'Maw.
Yeah, there's the benefit of rerolls on these high econ portals of being able to just hit sooner. But also, as you said, the high cap is a struggle. But I guess they're accepting that SCSC will instead push the tempo, try and find a line and find it that it's open, stay out of the lanes of his teammates, just play for the best that he can. Bintum, full open, 50 gold, 2-5.
Bintum with already 2 silver augments, the stim pack and the AFK, it seems like. Not going to be playing this Stage 2, looking for the full loss streak, and I don't blame him. 50 gold already in Scuttle Puddle. This is one of the ways you can play this portal. Gold overall has less value, but still already at 50.
What's really cool is we saw Bintum's board, but we just saw the dummy. We know that he knows he's open fort. He's not even looking at his board. He's going around scouting the opponent, scouting his teammates, and helping to give comms and context for the 4v4 game plan. Very fun to see.
And I want to mention, this is what Bintum did at the Global Championship as well. Hard griefing multiple EME players to get into the finals. He's been doing that all the while in Tactician's Crown, so definitely very used to this playstyle.
I mean, you really had to bring that up. I had already forgotten. I was best friends with Bintum again, but now I'm starting to think that he doesn't like my region, which makes me a little bit sour. But Duni, a player that has to be very happy. Once again, in a similar spot, playing for the Syndra line. He did pick up a BF sword on that last carousel, so has 2 BIS items already. But these are the win-streaking players coming into the end of Stage 2. 4 win streak for either player, 39 gold as well for each. So double reason to try and win this fight.
Big for the Wolves if they can dodge each other here. Shelty versus Lee Sao, and they don't. One of them will have to lose the win streak. Wolves going to lose some of their econ value coming out of Stage 2. Lee Sao having the Hui carrying right now, where it's the Zoe 2 on the other side, both with the Shojin, both wishing that their name was Syndra, and that's just not enough. The Hui trying its best. It is just going to be that Lily in the front line being a little bit too strong, however. It seems like Shelty will be the one carrying the streak, but at least a good loss for Lee Sao.
Shelty with a very good roll of items on that Lilia here, and I do want to mention this is before his silver augment has even popped, so playing with some very high caps, great ways into all of the AP lines, which are typically favored in the meta right now.
Shojin built on the Zoe here. We'll see if there will be any augments at 3-2 that open up that alternate line with the portal. If there's any spatulas, for example, with portal being a craftable emblem, that could come through in the Stage 3 carousel. So once again, open a line that many players are already in Stage 2 because of the strength of portal as a 3 trait.
I really want to see if we're going to get a repeat of Bintum with a golden quest. The perfect situation has appeared. Tons of gold. The right amount of augments here.
Golden Quest on Scuttle is a little illegal.
It is very illegal.
It's a little messed up.
One big thing to mention is that a lot of players think about TFT and they say, oh, you just high roll. That's all it is. But you have to be open to the high rolls. I guarantee you, Bintum, somewhere in his very big brain, he has the idea of, hey, if I hit Golden Quest, this is a really big high roll that I'm open to right now because I'm committing to this very greedy econ generating line with the Scuttle Puddle.
It's actually a strategy in the 4v4 that I think has been more successful than people thought, is just leaving yourself open to some of these more like quote-unquote egregious high rolls, because they're keeping the door open on a player that maybe would only have a mediocre spot anyways, and now you get to turn it into that big first place that just wins the entire game for your team.
A lot of players right here trying to reroll for the Syndra 2, but neither of them hitting on the side of Wolves or T1. They're just going to have to make do as we have YGQF going into the multi-striker line, so I guess not a lot of players heeding to Clement's advice here. They're going for the low cap reroll boards still.
We talked about over-encumbered, feeding into that potential Syndra BIS. Very close to it, it looks like there for Bobe, who has now a 3-item Syndra. Just needs that upgrade, as do, well, maybe most of our players in this stage 3.
Oh.
A second silver augment comes through. Rolling for days, a few extra rolls, golden remover, a lot of items still on the item bench here. He has to now make some executive decisions in terms of where the direction is. We do see a singular Veigar on the board. There is a lot of tears, not of sadness, but hopefully that will build towards a blue buff and a Shojin. Do we commit, Bintum? Is it time? Not quite the golden quest we're looking for when it comes to the Honeyman.
This is my golden quest here, is to see a Veigar 3 picked up in the grand finals. Bintum, I mean, yeah, having that many tiers, it kind of starts to lead you to want to consider the line. He's also considering multi-strikers, as you can see this pair of Castans, pair of Goalies with the blue buff slam. That's starting to feel like a little bit of a commitment, but not quite.
The Morello may be indicating more of a karma, but let's keep our hopes up.
Yeah, I think for Bintum, when we've seen him go into this big lose streak, it simply has been for the level 8 play. So I'm not going to keep my hopes up. I love the line, but probably not in a 4v4 finals.
One big deal with the rolls, of course, is that now in set 12 you can bank your reroll. So despite it looking like a reroll option, you can of course just bank it, essentially just saving that economy for that level 8 roll down. In theory, we'll see where Bintum goes with this.
I mean, we start seeing if he's going to pump XP, hold on to this gold, or if he actually starts rolling, and we'll immediately know what he's going to be looking for.
Is this double up? Can Juni send the karmas over to Bintum? Is that how this works?
What is happening with Juni? He's been so high roll all 3 of these games.
Maybe
here.
he should hit the the random uncraftable emblem if he's feeling it.
Okay. Let's see. Nah. He's gonna skip it. But that's pretty egregious. Getting 2 karmas this early, and you can also level up faster, opens up a lot more playing lines. He's not going to have to reroll much on this level 6 for Syndra.
Yeah, Bobe also finding a Nami, which is very important for the Syndra line. So a couple 4 costs being picked up by T1 that are very impactful. We'll see if they're able to execute with that, really convert off of it. Bintum down to 50 gold now. I believe he must have pumped some EXP, so we're going to be seeing, instead, it will be the Karma, most likely.
And we'll see now this Carousel. We talked about the Karma pair. Could there be a Karma on this Carousel as well? Maybe a second Nami, maybe just the items to finish off, as we're seeing here. Maybe the Rage Blade for Serene, who needs to find the 3rd Syndra item to get her scaling. We're seeing Keepers here. Could, of course, indicate and really plays more easily into something like a multi-strikers, but we saw it from Alan earlier in day 2 of this tournament. We've seen it from a few players. They can still play Keepers into a line like Syndra.
No
The 4 cost here. Yeah, not looking at it like the most important one so far. Karma not there, Nace is not there. Fairly equal across the board. That Karma pair on Juni is what everyone is looking at.
Calms, very calm. There's no, crazy amount of pressure, it seems like. They just all know exactly what they're doing on their own boards, what to try and grief from their opponents. The scouting has been coming through all throughout stage 3, and with players of this level, they can immediately see the components on the bench and understand what the opponent will be trying to go for next in terms of the BIS itemization for their tank or their backliner.
And Bintum now getting even more items coming through. Stimpack falling down below 50 here.
Could build a Shojin here onto the Veigar.
Still holding the cope.
Maybe a remover to take off the Morello, build a JG as well, but not sure that'll be the game plan.
Looking a little bit dicey for Bintum, only on 41 HP. If the Scuttle Puzzle doesn't give him a lot of gold, there is a chance he just misses out on the level 8 roll down. So I think the rest of the players on T1 do have to start and take that into consideration, give him more time to get online. If you don't hit the upgrades, the extra items don't matter as much.
And for SCSC, he is back on the Kog'Maw reroll, has rolled heavily, understands his role, stay healthy, preserve HP in stage 3 especially, does have the featherweights to help with that. SCSC, a player who, before coming to this final day, had played already 2 games of Kog'Maw reroll with a 3.0 average, so someone who definitely knows and understands where this comp spikes and finds success.
I think there's going to be some trouble for SCSC though, because a lot of times when he's been playing this, we've seen him hold on to an insane amount of HP. This time, it's 82 right now. He's already starting to lose against some of these other players. The higher resources, they're letting players get to level 7 a little bit quicker, find some of the upgrades a little bit quicker, and it's making it so the Kog'Maw reroll, not finding the 3 stars already, it's not actually that much more powerful.
6 Indras there we saw from Bobe.
SCSC has that chance to, I mean, he's not going to take it, of course. Shelty, I really wonder what his support item is. Ever since it's been given to him, he has not won a single round. So, might have been a little bit of a low roll given his comp.
And now Bintum fighting up against SCSC. Bintum hoping to get a couple of knockouts here, but it is just going to be the Tristana doing so much damage in the front line from SCSC. Still good enough. Bintum going to continue the loss streak. Fortunately, able to take out half the units on the board.
Good loss on the side for Bintum. He needs every ounce of gold he can get before he goes into the PvE round. 63 gold. He still needs a lot to level, over 20 gold to level. So it's going to come down to these scuttles. How much gold is he going to get to help him find upgrades?
And we're seeing every single player, it seems like, on T1 holding on to the multi-strikers, holding on to the cast and the Dekali. This is because gold just has less value when you get that much more of it in Scuttle Puddle. Even if you go down to 0 gold, the injection that comes in, the rejuice on every single PvE round means that you can go back up, still level up, and it's overall more worthwhile to hold units on your bench.
All right, Bintum went to 8. Went to 30 gold. He'll get to come back up from the Scuttle, as exactly as you're talking about. Does not hit the 4 cost that he wants off of that orb. But we're going to see a big roll down, I expect, here from Bintum. Finds a Fiora. There's the Gwen. Warriors potentially can be played.
Assembly.
Not finding the Karma yet.
He knows he has to roll quickly. He dodges the Assembly despite it being plus gold because he knows it'll slow him down too much.
Tarek for the front line. Bard upgrade. It's not everything that he needs. Still no Karmas. Completely unable to find it. Melio, at least 5 costs that can be used. Pairs the Gwen, gets a Nasus. It's not the most amazing roll down.
So in these type of situations, you might want to consider using the Gwen as a item carry for the Karma. You could switch off the items later with just something like an Akali.
And despite the rat tactics, the Kassadin has still been found on this final 4-1 roll down from YGQF. Of course, the army building helps with that, the extra duplicators, and now the item collector, a great combat strength augment when you have all of these carries fully itemized. One final augment coming up at 4-2. What will it be for our players who really need to stabilize? Looking at Bintum in particular, the hero for this team is now down to 21 HP, and he gets a big chance to come back into the game with a prismatic augment selection.
Silver prismatic, and he can either save Bintum or shut him out completely. We're going to see what these choices are coming through.
Bintum does take immediate combat power, getting extra HP on the board, but I actually think Prismatic is one of the worst choices in this situation. It's usually a lot of immediate power, and if you haven't hit your upgrades, it just doesn't count for you.
Lee Sao, the other player, rolling down on 8 here, in contrast to Bintum. Able to find a Callista 2.
The Radiant Rage Blade is so big onto this Callista. We have a TG as well. And just the Tiny Titans buying so much more time for Lee Sao to do his thing.
This is one of the strongest cap-out boards coming in here. If he can get the Camille online, the Arcana in. You know, Bastion Callista, typically not played because it's just too expensive in 4v4, but this would be the position to see it in.
Yeah, Fiora even getting to the backline immediately here. Syndra not able to take things down. Juni
so
very close fight. The Karma nearly being able to hold on for Juni. Big amounts of HP being taken away from T1 here. Wolves kind of winning across the board as Bintum once again in a lot of trouble. Very close fight. Able to hold on. He needs to salvage as much HP as he can. He is so far behind the curve of this lobby.
And this Nasus might help, especially with Giant and Mighty. Has to move on those items to the Nasus, make him the star of the show when it comes to the frontline units, and hope that the Karma has enough time. She's always going to be living on borrowed time with her ability, slowly chipping away at all the units on the enemy board.
Some really fast reaction times for Bintum. He's moving across the board to make sure that he's going to get maximum value out of the unstable treasure chest to make sure he can live one more round. He sells the Taric here, going to item transition towards the Nasus, a better tank. The key thing is hitting upgrades. Where are those backlines?
And the combination of augments here, the keepers into the support golem with a Randuin and an Aegis of the Legion. Everything telling you, hey buddy, just clump up. Don't worry, there's no AoE coming your way.
Insane hits there for Serene, but maybe it's not strong enough to deal with Bintum just yet, who has rolled down all of this gold. Serene still a lot of strength to be had. Level 7, 50 gold, but now with the Nasus 2 and the Karma's items, Bintum may have found some amount of stability.
Bintum has been juiced many times, going in with the stim pack, extra interest gold. If he can stabilize, he is a win-out player, and that would be a 6-point swing in his position.
No Karma here, unfortunately. And looking back at that combination with the Keepers and the Randuins and the Aegis, in a solo format, maybe your opponents don't scout enough, they don't notice how much you are giving up in terms of your positioning. In a team format, every single player on T1 has said, hey, if you guys have a chance to slot in some CC, if you guys have a chance to have these units that really benefit from AoE clumping, try and go for it, because we're going to have massive win conditions against this massive middle clump from the Wolves player.
Yeah, and if not, you're going to have to deal with that stat check, and it's going to be just far too much.
The roll down coming through. We are seeing the fabled combination. Snipers focus onto the Kog'Maw for now. Not a Kog'Maw 3 just yet. It is Tristana 3 coming through with the Rage Blade, the IE, the combination of items we've seen so often across the tournament.
And I do want to explain why the Marksman toolkit is so good on the Kog'Maw. It's because it allows his ability to hit the backline as well. You can actually instantly wipe 3 targets that are clumped up together. Very powerful if the opponents are not aware of it.
Now on the other side, SCSC going up against Bobe. Bobe has found Syndra 3 once again. T1 being able to 3-star a Syndra in the game. And there's still going to be 5 Mordekaisers for Bobe. We've seen how powerful it is when you're able to 3-star Syndra and Mordekaiser. Bobe having potentially a chance to look for the win in this game for T1.
And that great synergy we saw there as well with the combination of the Ascension for the Syndra and the Randuins to buy time for that Ascension to kick in.
Bintum has finally hit his upgrades, but he's down to 10 HP here. I wonder if he rolls a little bit more. Does he have the gold to actually potentially go for this Milio 2?
You would wish for a Bard to maybe replace the Bard on the current board and try and swap those items over. The extra attack speed on the Milio, which can then, of course, feed even more items to the rest of the units on his board, especially the Nasus and Fiora, still with 2 and 1 items respectively.
Massive win streakers for Lee Sao and YGQF. Can Bintum dodge them out? Runs into Bobe.
Item on the bench, making his board a tiny bit weaker. Is that enough for Bintum to stay alive, considering he's on 1 life, even considering it's a stage 4, Casa?
Bintum has been such a rock for this team. Taking an 8th so early in this game when he is one of the potential win-out players would be so tough, and especially coming at the hands of Bobe. Ascension just procs, and Syndra going to be pumping out a ton of damage still.
Zillion, so big.
Nasus holding on, and Zillion finding the stun to buy time for the Milio. Bobe will take the loss. Unfortunately, kind of a large loss. T1 needs to be saving as much life as possible, but Bintum surviving, so impactful for the squad.
Saren also takes a big loss here on that Syndra line. I don't really see a future with Bobe on that Syndra 3. So the big thing is, can T1 actually scrap out a miracle here? Send Saren lower than Bintum.
We're starting to see maybe one of the win-out players. Great combination of items on the very early Kalista 2 has now resulted in a 5-win streak all throughout Stage 4, taxing a lot of the T1 players in the process. Potentially a level 9 coming on in 5-2, and with Scuttle Puddle and the extra amount of resources, maybe even a level 10 from this player and a few others if they make it to Stage 6.
Especially looking at Lee Sao right now, already 50 gold coming into this. Easily can just pump up XP, doesn't actually have any other upgrades that you really would want to roll for on level 8.
Shelty also a potential very strong player with the extra portal here. So already found the Nora has 8 portal on the board. The rest of the question is just about filling in the front line.
In the semifinals, Shelty played back-to-back games of vertical portal to get this team into this final. And Shelty, when he's offered this path, once again he said, you know what, I had great results before, let's run it back, baby.
Finds the Taric upgrade as well. Both of these boards incredibly strong. Huge uphill battle for T1 to deal with Lee Sao and Shelty.
And the confident pre-level, staying above 50, understanding that, hey, I am strong enough. I am going for max cap. I am not feeling the pressure just yet.
SCSC and Bintum here, both don't really seem they have a win-out condition. So T1, their game plan has to be about scrapping placements at the bottom. SCSA especially, we were talking about Kog'Maw in this type of setup where there's prismatic finales and also the Scuttle Puddle just doesn't have the power to stay around.
Bobe taking another loss. Shelty still a lot of room to continue to improve the board. Bobe, we felt like was in a strong position with the Syndra 3, but on a 2-loss streak down to 24. SCSE certainly looks like it will be either an 8th or a 7th. Only hope is that Serene will fall quicker.
Unlike most games of TFT in this set 12, because of Scuttle Puddle, we're seeing kind of that secondary roll down on 5-2 on level 9 for a ton of players trying to find those legendaries to continue re-spiking their board, to maybe even have these win streaks continue. 6 right now for Li Sao at the very top of the HP standings. Bintum on the opposite side of the spectrum, just trying to stay alive to live for 1 or 2 more fights to finish 7th instead of 8th.
Juni contesting him on the board with the Karma. Of course, Bintum has to slam his last item onto the Nasus, hoping that he can stay alive here. It could be a team kill, but the Nasus walks up.
Yeah, the Nasus able to get into the back line. Bintum gonna be able to win that one. On the other side, Serene fighting for his life against Bobe. That Syndra 3 doing so much work, but the front line has been relatively soft. It looks like it's enough this time. Serene gonna take a huge hit. Woo. One of the Wolves will be going out first. Bobe and SCSC doing enough to stay alive in this game and try and keep T1's hopes alive as well, but still 3 T1 players in the bottom 4 in danger of still dropping this game.
I'm still so impressed by T1. Bintum has been hanging by a thread ever since the last stage, but still able to make it all the way to 5-3 because of his teammates recognizing they need to keep that win condition alive.
And despite the 10 HP for Bintum all across the last stage, I'd go as far as calling him the hero, because it matters so much to finish 1 placement above, to outlast your opponents even if for a moment, and it all comes down to those small details, what units to buy and upgrade, where to itemize, how to position as well.
Bintum again gonna be fighting up against the multicasters, or multi-strikers this time, and the Karma is on the same side as the Kassadin. The tanking from the Nasus has to be huge here, but the Kassadin will be going to this Karma very soon.
Kali.
Kali's already there. Kali getting a lot of damage
The
down.
Zillion stun is so big, it buys the time you need. A massive win for Bintum, stays alive once again, and Kassa, please don't say multicasters once again. The PTSD came rushing in.
Immediately.
Kassadin I love, the multicasters maybe not so
Oh,
much.
it was terrible, terrible, terrible. SCSC, though, takes another loss. We do expect him to be the next person to fall in this game. But Dunizuni and Bintum trying to hold on a bit, as YGQF could also go down for the Wolves and open up a chance for T1.
Massive for Bintum here as he finds extra items for the Fiora. Only the Bloodthirster on his secondary carry so far, so he's going to be able to juice up a little bit more.
The Hanam Justice matters because the Omnivamp keeps the Fiora alive until the Milio item comes in to finalize her itemization, as that temporary item has, slotted in for that 3rd position for most of these fights. The Rumble game plan still here, not quite come through for SCSC. As we know, I think the player that's almost always playing into this Kog'Maw line, he's done his job up until this moment. He's taxed many players' HP, but this max cap is never going to win lobbies. He just needs to stay alive for 1 or 2 more rounds longer, just like Bintum.
And it's going to come down a lot to how this Kog'Maw is going to roll with that Fishbones. It doubles his attack range. If it can get into the back line, there could be some chances for miracle wins.
Facing off against Dunizuni, we have to watch where the Kog'Maw goes. Trying to get the hits onto the front line. It's a lot of power there. We see the cast coming through. Almost takes out Karma immediately. Looks like the Kog'Maw's doing a lot of work, but there's a lot of CC coming through. Now the back line is gone, so SCSC should be able to live. Looking on the other side, it is going to be Bintum versus Li Sao. Can he stay alive even longer? That Callista's going crazy with the Radiant Ginsu. Bintum gets shut down by Li Sao.
He's done his job. He has the +1 over Serene. And that looks like YGQF has also been taken down in 6th. A very close elimination at the end there on that 5-5 fight. YGQF in 6th place, Bintum in 7th.
Multi-strikers just not able to get the jobs done in this meta right here. And we saw the potential, the miracle team fight from SCSC, targeting the backline, taking out Karma almost immediately in the fight to survive. Juni, SCSC, both holding on to 3 and 2 HP respectively.
SCSC looks like he will get up against a Ghost potentially there, just the portal. Try to deal with that as Li Sao versus Shelty, the 2 strongest members of the Wolves, carrying the team on their backs for this game, both playing for incredibly high caps. Zuni gonna pop up back on the screen, trying to survive against Bobe. Could be another team kill coming through for T1. They've done a great job of keeping their low health members alive, but at this point, all of them don't have a lot of health remaining, and the Syndra is just too powerful from the side of Bobe.
The Jack show is not enough. 2 players from T1 go down. SCSC in 5th, Zuni in 4th.
And that will lock in the win for Wolves once again, it looks like, as they were able to grab that. As we take a look here, no, they went 8th and 6th. It's not locked just yet. Bobe has a chance to win out. It's very close, but he can tie the points, and first place being the tiebreaker. Bobe can be the hero for T1
That
against
being
Lee
said,
Sao and Shelty.
the writing is on the wall. It's a 10-win streak right now for Lee Sao. Can anyone stop this player from completely taking over the game in Stage 6?
It's one of the highest cap boards that you can possibly get here, and he still has a lot of roll to go here. Could fit in the Milio for Scholars, fill in the rest of the items, and also get a little bit more out of the Fairy.
With this HP total, I would not be surprised to see him try and go 10 on 6-2 to try and really hit that max cap, understanding that he has so much extra gold generated off of the Scuttle Puddle. And Bobe in a very different position, level 8 and rolling for his life. He's the player that has to win it all.
1 away from the Mordekaiser. Maybe that's the out. Mord 3 with this itemized Karma and Syndra that's been stacking all game could give him a chance to win, but he's 1 unit off.
Gets a little bit of a reprieve here against the Ghost board. I do expect him to take this one. And for Shelty, every moment he stays alive is a chance to grief Bobe. I want to see him hold on to all of the Mordekaisers possible.
It's too late for the double treasure charge to pop, but it's maybe not enough time. But all of a sudden, the surge comes through. The Leviathan from the Nami sweeps across the left side of the board. The Karma still alive. The Archangel stacking a massive win for Bobe. Just one of the many he needs to try and take his team back into it to win this game 3.
So close against the Ghost fight, but Shelty actually taking down Lee Sao as Lee Sao does go to 10. Shelty staying alive, as Clement said, should be able to keep trying to grief Bobe off of that Mordekaiser.
The full cap coming through, the Zerath slotted in, the slow mix in now onto the potential Arcana, but Kallista's also being sought after. Many ways to cap this board out to guarantee the win condition, and the denial also there.
Even with 2 of these Callistas taken, there are ways to circumvent the pool here, given that it is a Scuttle Puddle game. Big stun on the side of Bobe. A very powerful combat augment.
Here's the cast from the Rise. He's on the right side, trying to hit on to the Karma. The front line starting to fall down for Bobe, but it's held on for quite a bit, and the Leviathan's coming through, getting the CC. Great positioning from Shelty, hitting both of the carries with his own
Karma
Nami.
down, the
but
bomb
now
comes through.
Syndra's there. Syndra's trying to make it happen. Can't get it, but Bobe stays alive. He still has a little bit more time to try and find the Mordekaiser. It's a Mordekaiser 3 diff in these fights so far.
Just the 1 life left, and he has to fend against 2 players. He gets it.
He has to sell the Callista at the very end of the round. Okay, he does it now. He gives a little bit more time for the rolls to come through if Lee Sao is close enough to hit the Callista 3 spike. But it's all going to come down to potentially the rolls to deny in the next few fights. If he even survives, maybe there's a Callista on the Carousel as well.
Yep, just lost to Shelty, should be rotating into Lee Sao right here. The big thing about Lee Sao is how he positioned his Callista to focus fire. If he gets stuck on the Mordekaiser, it could take him a very long time.
Immediately going to be targeting the Mord. It is right off the bat. Lee Sao versus Bobe, trying to send T1 out of this game, trying to grab the 2-1 lead. Looking at the Syndra, trying to punch through this front line as fast as possible. Once again, the Nami positioning great, hitting onto the carries, but Callista has broken through. Can Callista finish off the carries? Syndra, 1 more cast, it's not enough. Bobe's down. Wolves are able to grab their 2nd win of the series.
And I have to give props to Bobe. He picked up the Silver Guard Charm, stopping the CC at the start of that fight. We saw the Tahm Kench come through. Nothing ended up happening, but it just was not enough. Massive disparity between level 8 from Bobe and the greedy plays from Shelty and Lee Sao, taking hits earlier in stage 5, understanding, hey, if we get a little bit greedy, we can guarantee the level 10s. We can have a much stronger cap than our opponents.
Both of those 2-cost reroll lines actually going out into the bottom 4 right here. And in the end, it's the higher cap boards with the Scuttle Puddle that win out. One of the highest caps you can reach in the game is this Callista Flex, and why it's been so popular.
All in all, I have to say, The Scrappers on T1 did their job. They accomplished the +2 coming into that top 4 with SCSC outplacing YGQF and Bintum outplacing Serene. But in the end, it was the max cap players, Lee Sao, who really, I think, had that unstoppable board ever since the Callista 2 with the Radiant Rageblade was found at the very start of Stage 4. He understood his board strength and he started greeting out since then to really ride that wave to level 10 thanks to Scuttle Puddle.
Lee Sao, top 4 in the Inkborn Fables Championship. Once again, being the ace for his team that he has been all tournament long. Wolves, the underdog story, coming all the way